Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a mini deep dive into something a lot of you have been asking about hiring ThinWire developers. It's all about getting those web apps that feel just like desktop software, that snappy, responsive feel, but without writing a million lines of code.
Exactly. It's all about efficiency and a really great user experience.
And finding the right developer for that can make or break your project. Before we jump in, if you really want to cut to the chase and find that perfect developer, you got to check out the 5 questions over at theperfectdeveloper.com. They're amazing at helping you figure out exactly what you need in a developer. Okay, so ThinWire, it's powerful stuff, but it is specialized, right?
Absolutely.
So why not just, hire any web developer out there?
Well, it's kind of like, would you hire just any contractor to build a spaceship?
Probably not.
ThinWire developers, they have a really specific skill set. ThePerfectDeveloper.com actually points out that they can build these super complex user interfaces with way less code than you'd need with traditional frameworks.
So that means faster development time, probably lower costs.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm sold on the specialist idea. So what skills should we actually be looking for?
Okay, so the obvious ones, right? You want someone who's fluent in Java, and obviously they need to know ThinWire inside and out, but it goes deeper than that, right?
Right.
Because ThinWire is all about the user experience. UI/UX design skills are absolutely essential.
That makes sense.
They need to understand how to make the app not just work, but work beautifully, intuitively.
So it's got to be easy to use.
Yeah.
What about the data side of things?
Oh, that's huge. Database integration is key. Think of your app like a car, and the database is the fuel tank. A good ThinWire developer knows exactly how to connect those two so your app can store and retrieve information, no problem.
Okay, so we need someone who can build the smooth, beautiful app, and it's connected to the data it needs. But how much is all this expertise going to cost?
That is the question, isn't it? I mean, salaries, they can vary so much depending on experience, where you're located, all sorts of factors.
Sure.
But theperfectdeveloper.com, they've actually crunched the numbers and have detailed salary info on their site, specifically for ThinWire developers, which is so helpful.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, do we have to hire someone full-time, or are there other options out there?
Oh, you've got options for sure. Full-time, part-time, freelance, even contract to hire. It all depends on what your project needs. It's kind of like choosing a vehicle, you know? Do you need a minivan for the long haul or just a quick scooter to get you around town?
I love that analogy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's say we're looking through resumes, we're starting to do interviews. What are some red flags? How do we spot someone who's, maybe faking the thin wire expertise?
Proof. You want proof. Can they show you a real ThinWire project they've worked on?
So a strong portfolio is key.
Absolutely. And really listen to how they explain things. You don't want them to sound like they're reading from a textbook. You want to hear real understanding there.
So passion and clarity.
Yeah, for sure.
What about, gaps in their work history or if they jumped around a lot? Is that a bad sign?
Not necessarily. I mean, freelancing is super common in the tech world, and some developers, they just thrive on variety.
They like to keep it fresh.
Exactly. But the key is, are they consistently delivering quality work? Are they meeting deadlines? Check those references. Look for patterns. ThePerfectDeveloper.com actually has some really great advice on how to vet developers. It can save you a lot of headaches later on.
Yeah, due diligence. Okay, let's flip the script for a second. How do we make our company like a magnet for the best thin wire talent out there?
It's not just about salary, although, of course, being competitive helps.
Sure.
Think about growth opportunities,
Okay,
training, mentorship, challenging projects. You want to show them that there's a path for them to level up.
that's attractive.
Definitely. And flexibility is huge these days. Remote work is a big draw for a lot of developers.
So it's really about creating a culture where developers feel valued, they can learn, they can grow, and have some freedom.
Exactly. Top developers, they want to work somewhere that values them as people, not just, code monkeys. If you build that kind of culture, you're going to attract the best.
This has been so helpful. We've covered so much: skills, costs, red flags, even making your company a developer magnet. I
Yeah.
feel like I have a roadmap now.
That's great. And as you're going through this process, just remember, technology is always changing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So as you're building your ThinWire dream team, think about this. What skills, beyond the typical ones, might make a developer stand out in the future?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like maybe deep knowledge of accessibility or a real knack for building super secure apps.
Okay, food for thought. We need to think about not just what we need today, but what's going to keep our app thriving down the road.
Exactly.
Thanks for that reminder.
The audit.
And to all of you listening, Thanks for joining us on this rapid deep dive into hiring ThinWire developers. It's a specialized field, but hopefully we've given you a good foundation to start your search. And don't forget, for a shortcut to finding that perfect developer, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and try their 5 questions tool. It's really designed to help you zero in on the best talent for your specific project. Until next time, happy hiring.
You've got options. Full-time, part-time, freelance, even contract to hire. It all depends on what your project needs. Think about it like choosing a vehicle. Do you need a minivan for the long haul or a zippy scooter for a quick trip?
I love that analogy. Okay, let's say we're sifting through resumes, starting to interview. What are some red flags? How do we spot a ThinWire pretender?
First, proof. Can they show real-world ThinWire projects? A strong portfolio is gold.
So a strong portfolio is key.
Absolutely. And listen carefully when they explain concepts. They shouldn't sound like they're reading from a textbook. There should be genuine understanding there.
So passion and clarity are key. What about gaps in their work history or lots of job hopping? Is that a warning sign?
Not always. Freelancing is common in tech, and some developers thrive on variety. The key is consistent delivery of quality work, meeting deadlines, check references, look for patterns. ThePerfectDeveloper.com has great advice on vetting developers. Their insights can really save you headaches down the line.
Right. Due diligence is crucial. Okay, flipping the script. How do we make our company irresistible to top ThinWire talent?
It's more than just salary, though being competitive is important, of course.
Sure.
Think growth opportunities, training, mentorship, challenging projects. Show them a path to level up. And flexibility is huge. Remote work is a major draw for many developers these days.
So it's about creating a culture where they can learn, grow, and have some freedom.
Exactly. Top developers want to work somewhere that values them, not just their code output. Build a company culture that aligns with their values, and you'll attract the best.
This has been so helpful. We've covered so much: skills, costs, red flags, even how to be an employer magnet. I feel like I have a roadmap now. We've covered a lot, haven't we? From those specialized skills to the cost, red flags, even how to be like a developer magnet.
Yeah, we really did. And that's why theperfectdeveloper.com can be so helpful. I mean, they've got all sorts of resources to guide you through that whole hiring process, from, writing that perfect job description to nailing those interview questions.
Oh yeah, their site is a goldmine. Speaking of gold mines, you mentioned future-proof skills earlier. Can you expand on that a little bit? What kind of skills would make a ThinWire developer stand out, say, in the next 5 years?
That's a great question, and it's something every company should be thinking about.
Yeah.
The tech world moves so fast, right? What's hot today could be obsolete tomorrow. So on top of that solid Java and ThinWire foundation, I'd look for developers who are really passionate about learning, adapting.
And not just what they know now, but their ability to keep learning.
Exactly. Look for that curiosity. Do they play around with new technologies in their spare time? Do they contribute to open source projects? Those are signs that they're not just punching the clock. They're really engaged with how technology is evolving.
So they're ahead of the game, not just keeping up.
Right.
Makes sense. Any other specific skills you're thinking of?
As we move toward these more, interconnected systems, a deep understanding of APIs is going to be key, and how to integrate different platforms seamlessly. And of course, security is more important than ever. Developers who really know how to build secure applications are going to be in high demand.
Wow, you're giving us a glimpse into the future of web development.
I hope it's helpful.
It is. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us for this mini deep dive into hiring ThinWire developers. It's a niche field, but we've given you the basics to get started. And remember, if you want a shortcut to finding the right developer, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and check out their 5 questions tool. It's going to help you zero in on the best person for your project. Happy hiring.